We've been trying to link up for a little over 2 weeks, and we got it done here today. A Christmas Day Locked On Vols features former Tennessee quarterback Jarrett Guarantano.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, good Wednesday morning, everybody, and Merry Christmas. Welcome to Locked On Vols. If you're listening to us here on Christmas Day, we thank you. Maybe you're taking a little break from the family. Maybe you're making your way through the woods to grandmother's house you go, whatever the case may be. I can't thank you enough for hanging out with us here on the show. Want to remind you guys, no show tomorrow. Again, I'll record these a day in advance, and, well, I'm not going to record anything on Christmas Day. So no show coming up on Thursday, but today's show is a big one. So if you're listening to this the day after Christmas, you're not missing anything. Hey, what a show we got coming up. I have a sit-down conversation, almost 40 minutes, with former Tennessee quarterback Jarrett Guarantano. He was really, really good. Phenomenal, even. We talked about a number of different things. His time here at Tennessee, coaching staffs, his physical makeup in terms of a quarterback, durability at the quarterback position, time away from Tennessee, why he's been so pro-Tennessee here lately in terms of the X and wanting to get back, with the program, and just a ton of stuff. And so we're going to spend all three segments relaying my conversation with Jarrett Guarantano, and I can't thank him enough for doing this, and certainly I look forward to having him on the show again in the future. So without being said, I'm going to back away. All right, this is my conversation with Jarrett Guarantano. I guess let's kind of dial it back, and let's go back to you in Tennessee, and you were very active on Twitter, this football season, watching Tennessee, rooting on Tennessee, talking about the Vols and everything. And why the, I don't want to say sudden interest, because I know the interest has always been there for you, but why the excitement to kind of get back connected, I guess, with the Tennessee brand this football season?
Yeah, I don't think it just was dependent on just the season or how the season was going. It was more of like a personal thing. I would say I needed some time away. I needed some time to cope with my thoughts, cope with certain things that had happened at Tennessee. So along the lines, I knew that it was always going to be in my heart to come back. And I just felt like it was the perfect time this season. I just felt like I was good to go mentally and physically and everything. I was all there. So I'm grateful that I was able to get the acceptance that I did when I wanted to come back, obviously. It's been a whirlwind, and I'm absolutely blessed for Tennessee Vol Nation and just absolutely the staff too. So
I know you came back to at least one game this year, right? What game was that?
It was Alabama game.
What a good one to come back for.
Yeah, what
was it like? Yeah,
I don't know. It was a lot of emotions. Like I remember going walking around. I really didn't want to tell anybody that I was there. Obviously, like when I was walking around, it was kind of visible to see that I was, but I didn't want to make a big thing of it. I just kind of wanted to just be one of the fans and one of the boys again. And it was a blessing. I was able to walk around the Vol Walk. I was able to walk around the stadium. There was a lot of emotions when I first got there. I went there the day before. I took a trip just to walk around the stadium just by myself when it was nice and quiet, and the emotions were sky high. Obviously, it was my first time back in a long time, and it was absolutely amazing. Like, I couldn't have asked for a better trip. I was able to go on the field. I was able to meet with Coach Heupel and some of the staff. All in all, it was awesome. It was so good that I got out of there after the first quarter. Like, I was so full with love and energy and just excitement with everything. I was just like, I'm good. I don't even have to stay and watch the game. I'm absolutely good. I got what I needed. I'll definitely be back for way more, not just the Alabama game, but it was such an amazing trip. It was needed, and I couldn't have been more thankful for how they accepted me at the stadium, within the complex, on all with everything.
When you were walking around the stadium or maybe on the sideline, I mean, better than anybody, it's a who's who on that sideline, not only from like a celebrity perspective, but a recruiting perspective, but a donor and fans and this football team and, family. What was it like when people obviously saw you and came up and spoke to you?
It was so cool. So I'm in New Jersey right now. This is where I was born and raised. Football is just not the same in New Jersey as it is in the South, especially in Tennessee. So just being able to walk the sidelines and see old teammates, future guys that are thinking about going to Tennessee. I was able to see a big-time quarterback recruit. But just being able to walk the sidelines and see old faces within the media, within teammates, within staff, it was amazing. It was literally like I've been gone. It felt like I was gone just yesterday, but it's been 5 years now. but yeah, I'm just smiling ear to ear because it was such a great trip, and I was so thankful and I was so grateful to be able to see those faces again. There was a point in time where I was just like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be back. I don't know if I'm ever going to be wanted again. So I got everything out of that trip that I could possibly imagine.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I can tell, obviously, you are, grinning ear to ear, and it's a joy to talk about. I can tell. Sidebar, I mean, how different does the place look, right? There's a lot of cranes, a lot of construction going on. You got the Vols letters and all that. What were some of the noticeable differences from when you were there that you saw?
There definitely was the Vols letters. I sound super northern when I said that, but it was definitely the letters. It was given like the vintage, like I remember when I was there, and all I saw was like the 1998 team and all the prior teams with those letters in the background, and it was given that vintage feel to it, and it was just such a good game to come back to because of the Tennessee-Alabama rivalry, and I was seeing those letters for the first time up. It was really special.
Well, obviously, I know Tennessee, means the world to you and holds a special place in your heart. You were here for a long time. You had a lot of good memories. You had some bad memories. I remember your interview on the field. I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say it was 2019 at Mizzou, SEC Network. You just threw for like 400 yards, and you got emotional with Cole Heupel. But then I remember in the media scrum, like with us afterwards, we were like, "Hey, you coming back? You coming back?" And you're like, "Hey, I'm a Tennessee Vol, man. Like that's who I am." What does this place mean to you? What does this program and this place mean to you, kind of overall? And again, how good is that to kind of bridge that gap here the last couple months?
That could be a really triggering, emotional answer. But
it'll take your time. You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
It's just everything to me, right? Like I go back to high school when I first fell in love with the program. Obviously, when you're in high school, you're blind to everything. You just think everything's going to be absolutely amazing, right? You're just a young kid. Everything that happened there, I ask God and I talk to God all the time, and I just say thank you for everything, whether that was the good, the bad, everything in between. Just because I know, from my outlook right now as a person, I know that I'm a better person than I am if I was to go somewhere else and not have any adversity. And then with that interview, I mean, I remember there was a lot of guys throughout, a lot of media, a lot of tension saying like, "Hey, are you going to transfer?" Because that's when the transfer portal kind of became a thing where you can just leave if you wanted to. And at that time, even after Coach Butch, after he had gotten fired, we got a lot of interest and a lot of phone calls that we weren't paying attention to, and probably wasn't even legal at that time. But we were just like, I don't know what's going on. But a lot of people were looking for us to transfer and leave, and it was never in my heart to do that. I knew that the biggest thing to me was loyalty, and it was relationships, and the relationships that I had built with my teammates during those trying times was second to none, right? Like when you go through something with a group of people, you grow closer to them. So transferring and leaving Tennessee within those first 4 years wasn't even a shadow of doubt, was not happening. Obviously, after the COVID year, it was a weird year, weird things going on, a lot of unknown. I thought it was time for myself to go see if I can do something, if I can get away and just be able to be the player that I knew that I was at that time. I went to Washington State, really as far away as Knoxville could be, but I went to Washington State, and being named starter and working and finding a new group of teammates was awesome. Obviously, my luck was getting hurt in the first game, and not being able to come back for like 7-8 weeks. And then I had some other crazy coaching stuff happen there with COVID, but that's for another day. That's for another story. But with Tennessee, I knew that in my heart, that was where my heart was, and that's where my love was for everything, whether it was the game, whether it was from the location of living in Knoxville, whether it was my teammates. That's where I was mentally, and that's where I wanted to be physically. So I don't take back any decision that I ever made to go to Tennessee, to not leave Tennessee sooner, I should say. But everything that I did in the past, I'm completely proud of, and I'm grateful for that I had the opportunities that I had to do that. So Tennessee is my life, right? And I'm happy to be back, and I'm happy that we're having this talk too. Like this is like another mechanism for me, just being able to talk about my feelings. And it's all right, guys, to talk about your feelings. I've kind of embraced that the more I got to learn about myself in college, and I appreciate you, Eric, for allowing me to do that. So
yeah, well, I mean, everybody, the majority of us watching and listening, and obviously myself included, we've never been the quarterback at a place like Tennessee. We've never been in the spotlight. We never had every single thing we do on the football field scrutinized, or maybe off the football field. So yeah, man, it's certainly great to have this talk, and I can't thank you enough for it. Kind of getting back in between the lines a little bit. And again, not putting any coaches on blast or anything, but for you, like, how difficult as a quarterback, man, like, you were here for 5 years, 4 years plus that redshirt year. You had 2 different head coaches, obviously, 4 different OCs. Is that right?
4 different, yes.
How? I mean, as a quarterback, obviously, this is very. I'm stating the obvious here. I mean, how difficult is that to learn and transition and learn and transition and learn? It just feels like there's no consistency to kind of pick up where you were last season.
It was very difficult for me, like significantly difficult. Just being able to go to the complex every day and hear different people's perspectives, or I should say every year, right? Being able to commit to a couple of coaches, and then the year that you go to play, them being fired, and then a whole new staff, and then consistently like a different offensive coordinator come in. It was super difficult. Like, I look back at it and I didn't think anything of it. I'm just playing ball, like whatever. Like, I'll just try to be whatever that offensive coordinator wants me to be. It always felt like I was just trying to reach and trying to be someone else that I wasn't at times, just because it was all different types of offenses. It was all different types of leadership. Different guys are looking for different things from the quarterback position, as well as the offensive philosophies or strategy. So looking back, my thoughts now are completely different than my thoughts then. Like, I thought it was kind of normal what I was going through. Now I look back and I'm like, that was really tough. Like, how do you grow as a player? How do you become your full extent, your true self, when you have no stability, when you have coaches that aren't really able to help you mold you into the player that you could be, right? Or even your teammates, I should say, as well too. So looking back, it was really difficult. With that being said, of course, I wish at times that I played better. I wish that at times we were more consistent as an offense. Like, I'll be the first one to say, especially even when I was a player, I never once blamed anybody else for anything, right? Like, I took every single brunt on my shoulders. And even if I knew it was not particular game or anything, say if I knew it was an offensive line fault, if I knew it was running back, whatever position, if I knew anything and it wasn't truly me, I would take that. I would never want my friends to go through any of the stuff that I went through with the scrutiny, with the media. I would take that brunt. With that being said, of course, there was moments and times where I wish that I definitely played better. There was things that I wish that I was more consistent at, like I said before, but it was very difficult to do that on a week in, week out basis with the different coaching staffs that we had and trying to prepare for different things. So looking back, different than actually being in it in the present. But like I said, again, like the adversity with everything that I went through, I wouldn't trade it for the world, right? Of course, you can look back and say, oh, if you would have had such and such, if you would have had Coach Heupel, or you would have had this offense coordinator, this, whatever, who knows, right? Like, I can't go back in time. I can't change. I'm not even going to get into the what if game. But with that being said, I'm happy that it made me a stronger person. And I'm happy that it made me closer with my teammates. I'm happy that I was able to find out who I truly was in that process.
Yeah, the shoulda, coulda, woulda. You can't live in that world. I have a story. That's your story. Everybody can play that game, and it's not a healthy, to play that game. I want to tell you about my friends over at Game Time. Game Time is an app to where you can buy tickets to events in your area. It could be sporting events like basketball games at the Food City Center at Thompson Boling Arena, games at Neyland Stadium next fall, baseball at Lindsey Nelson Stadium this winter. It could be concerts and comedy shows and plays and movies at the Bijou Theater, the Tennessee Theater downtown on Gay Street. Or it could be in your neck of the woods, where you live and grow up, events, sporting events, concerts, whatever. All those things you need tickets for, right? And you can buy those tickets on the Game Time app, okay? Plus, it's for the procrastinator, maybe like you, because I'm very much a procrastinator. You can buy tickets that sometimes get cheaper for those events on the Game Time app the closer the event gets here. All-in prices, lowest price guarantee, view of your seats before you buy those tickets, plus the Game Time ticket customer service policy, the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. All that and more is on the Game Time app. Plus, right now, when you download the Game Time app, put in the promo code LOCKEDONCollege, you're going to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create that account, download the app today, create the account, put in the promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. How you feeling, Jarrett? How's the body feeling? Any you wake up in the morning still a little sore from those old battle wounds?
Oh, I didn't really get hit much when I was at Tennessee. I'm just kidding. I got banged up. No, I'm just kidding. That was just a joke. But I'm feeling good. I look back and some of those pictures that I see on social media or even some pictures in my photo albums, I'm just like, holy crap! Like, how the heck did you get up from that? But that's something that I took pride in. Like, I always thought, like, the way I grew up, being from New Jersey, being the way I was coached by my dad, like, the toughness factor, like, was a non-question, right? Like, that was something that you were going to have. That was something that you were going to be on the field. So my body's good now. If I was to do the same things and get hit the same ways and go through that gauntlet like that back 5 years ago, like right now, I probably wouldn't be too good. But no, it's nice waking up in the morning right now and not being extremely sore or banged up or having bumps and bruises and broken bones. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I would imagine so for sure. But hey, football's a contact sport. You know better than anybody. All right, so you were at Tennessee for 5 years. You go to Washington State for 2021. You go undrafted, spend some time with, I believe, the Cardinals, the Broncos. You played the XFL a little bit. Kind of walk us through your football life post college. And I mean, I know you can't tell the future, but is football still in the future for you? Hopefully.
Yeah, post college, it was very difficult for me. Right, like, I just went through my college career and it was nothing that I thought it would be as a 18-year-old senior in high school.
Mm-hmm.
It took a lot of mental growth for me. At that time, I was battling a lot of things. So I went to draft prep with a guy named Jordan Palmer and Mike White, two guys that really believed in me. And that was probably the best decision that I ever made at that time. They helped find my purpose in life, helped kind of build me back to getting that confidence that I knew what type of player I was. Obviously, I knew that we were going to go undrafted after, like, I just had my last campaign and I was hurt, and then I came back and it was already week 9. Like, I just knew that the proof was in the pudding with that. It was going to be a tough road if I was ever going to be able to have any little bit of success or even get my foot in the door with the NFL. So I got one phone call after the draft, and it was the Arizona Cardinals. I got a few others for rookie mini camp invites. So I got one for the Cardinals, and they were like, "We really like you. We don't want to offer you a contract." So I said, "You know what? I don't even care. Like, all I need is my single opportunity, my one opportunity. I know what type of player I am now. Like, I know what type of person I know everything now. I felt completely confident in everything. There was a lot of things that we did in that draft prep that were some things that were critical for my accuracy and critical for things that we looked back at Tennessee or things that we wanted to change per se and get better at that I really wasn't told at Tennessee or anything. So, but whatever. But I went along those lines. I went to the rookie mini camp at Arizona, and I had the 3 best days of my life, right? They signed me. I was able to continue with them all through July, got to August. Then I was put in a position where I was able to practice with the 1s and 2s every day just because Colt McCoy was banged up and Kyler was banged up a little bit at that time. So being able to do that and get those reps, and really my confidence is high at that point, but now actually seeing a lot of progress and seeing a lot of positives in my play and feeling the backing from Cliff Kingsbury, I just felt great. So then I went on to the preseason games and probably played some of my best football that I've ever played, just purely off just me being comfortable. And I felt like Cliff was an awesome play caller. He knew me and he put me in great situations. So I was with the Cardinals. I think I don't remember how many weeks after that. Colt and everybody had came back. Then I had signed with the Denver Broncos. Super excited about that. Orange and blue was the color I wore when I was a younger kid. They had Russell Wilson, so I was super excited to get to learn from him. And that offseason and that season right there, that's the most football that I've ever learned in my entire life, and that was just from Russell. I thought my knowledge, I thought I had okay knowledge just because of the 4 coordinators that I previously had.
Yeah.
But yeah, all 4. So I had different. I had every single thought about football in every way for sure. But I was like, but being able to learn and ask Russ and see the way he operates, like, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I know that my knowledge for football has grown massively when watching it or even teaching it or playing it. So Russ had gotten banged up. I was the 2 for a week. And that week I kind of showed the staff, like, I was ready to prepare. I was ready to play. Like, we really were off on a good foot. When Russ came back, there was a couple of teams that tried to poach me. So 3 or 4 teams like wanted me to come sign onto their active roster. This is a funny story. This is such a Jarrett Guarantano story, not third person, but it's just a Jarrett Guarantano story. So every team's trying to poach me. I'm trying to figure out, like, what do I need in my career? Like, this is the first time, like, I'm really confident. Like, there's something here. Like, I'm going to have an NFL career. Like, I know that I'm going to continue to progress and absolutely get better. Like, where can I get better at, though? Where will I have that stability? So the coaches in Denver are calling me like, hey, like, we love you. We want you here. I'm just like, oh, this is tough. Like, damn, like, I've only known them for 2-3 weeks. I obviously knew the guys in Arizona. I knew some of the guys in Atlanta. I knew some of the guys at the other teams as well. But I'm like, you know what? Like, I believe in Coach Hackett. Like, he loves me. He talks to me every day, all this stuff. And I go and I say, you know what? All right. So I signed a 2-year contract. That's 2-year signing bonus, everything, signing bonus included. So we go to play the Rams. I think it was the next week on Christmas, and we got beat pretty bad. The next day, the staff had got fired. And I'm like, if this just isn't my life, this is my football life, like, truly mine. Like, I'm just laughing because I'm like, how is it possible that this, like, it felt like it only happened to me. But right, like, I can't, it's stuff I couldn't control, but I'm just like, how is that even possible? Like, I signed a 2-year deal. I'm ready to go. All I'm talking about is stability. Like, I'm going to have it for the first time in my career. And then boom, a week later, Merry Christmas to me. But then after this,
at least you were prepared through all the changes and adversity throughout your college career for that, right? Because the NFL really is just, I mean, it's cutthroat. It's just a business, right?
No, nonstop. And that was a thing when I was talking to Jordan Palmer. That was a thing that we were going to use that as a positive going forward, right? There was a lot of quarterbacks in college that didn't have the adversity and didn't have the change that I had. So we were going to treat that as a positive. And I mean, we really thought it was a positive. You look at the NFL, like, a lot of guys hit adversity for the first time in the NFL, and then it's tough for them to react. So, but after that, then they had signed Coach Payton, Sean Payton, went through OTAs, went through everything. A couple guys got banged up, so I ended up getting let go. Just a bunch of workouts last season, trying to get ready in buildings, out of buildings, meetings constantly. Nothing stuck, but we were able to get a couple of futures contracts in hand, maybe 2 or 3. We had thought that it was better for us just to go get tape in the UFL. We just said, you know what, like, we'd rather choose our own destiny and go get tape, go to UFL, get named the starter, started the first game, didn't play too bad. We lost, but I thought I played well, protected the ball, did some things, avoided pressures. Then game 2, I had suffered a rib injury where I had internal bleeding. And it wasn't even that bad of a hit. I thought of all the hits of my prior career, like in college. And I'm like, this is the one? Like, you should see me get smoked by, like, South Carolina or Florida or one of these teams. Like, this is the one that does it to me. Like, this is why I'm banged up for 4 or 5 weeks. So basically that turns out to be, like, majority of the UFL season. I come back, like, week 9. It was just nothing there. And then I get banged up that game. But it's been a whirlwind, right? Like, my career has been such an up and down, emotional roller coaster. Just being able to gauge that has made me a better person. I feel like a lot of questions in the mirror, a lot of looking in the mirror, self-evaluation. What can I be doing better? What should I do? Now it's hit the point right now, seeing if there's going to be a futures contract on the table. If not, who knows? The only thing that I do know for certain is the more that I talk about Tennessee football, the more I talk about football, I love it. So I'm falling in love with this side of side of things. And if this is the end of the road for football in a couple of months, in a year, next week, who knows? Like, I know that I have a new passion. I have something that I can look forward to doing in the future.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot of former athletes that try to kind of get in this space. I mean, everybody's got, like, I got a podcast. I mean, everybody's got a show nowadays, right? And everybody tries to kind of get in this, but only, like, a select few can, like, you know, stick it out, have the intangibles, the tools, and all that, and kind of make a career out of it. And man, the ones that do, like, I mean, what an asset to people like me, like, just to, you know, pick your brains and, you know, talk about, you know, Tennessee, Ohio State. What do you see in this Ohio State defense, stuff like that? It's awesome, man. And you know, if that's your career down the line, dude, looking forward to following that for sure. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up that W. I love betting on players that are going to score touchdowns and how many points each team will score. It truly is thrilling. Not only can you bet on who's going to win the game, but FanDuel also has bets for individual scores, first-time scores, how many points each team will score in a quarter or a half, individual prop bets, total spreads, all that and more. It's so much fun over on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. So what do you need to do? Visit FanDuel.com today to join. That's FanDuel.com for a chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more at FanDuel. It's an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. What'd you like about this year, man? Nico, this Josh Heupel offense, Dylan Sampson, the run game, Tennessee's defense. I mean, there was a whole lot to like about this team, and obviously you were watching every single snap along the way.
I thought that there was a massive amount of positives with the team this year. You can look from position to position. I think every single position group wound up getting better throughout the season, and that's all you can ask for from a fan's perspective, a coach's perspective, a person on the team's perspective. Positives all around. Nico, I thought, played a hell of a game on Saturday. Of course, we would have liked to win, or we would have liked to change a few things, whatever that is, but he played with his heart out. D. Sampson had one of the best seasons of any Tennessee Vol in the history of the school program. And you just look around and you say, okay, so what's next, right? You built up a lot of positives this season. Going into the offseason, there's going to be certain things, obviously, that Coach Heupel wants to go get in the transfer portal or wants to go sign in the recruiting process. And as a fan, as somebody that's interested to see what goes on, the biggest thing to see is who he signs or who he goes after, right? That's pretty telling on how he feels or what he wants to impact the team with next year, or what he wants to add to the team next year, right? But you look back and there was a lot of big wins. There's another 10-win season, right? I said it before last week. I said whatever happens on Saturday is a win-win to me. This is the first year of a 12-team playoff, and Tennessee is one of the teams, right? I mean, if you look back at my last, I'm just being honest, but if you look back at my last year, the COVID year, when nobody knew what the heck was going on after we won the first 2 games, you look back to that year and then you look here and you say, oh my goodness, the progress that Tennessee has made, we are going to be a national powerhouse in the future if we continue on this kind of run. So that's why I'm just more of just where your feet are right now. And I'm so proud of the football team. I'm so proud of the coaching staff for what they have put on display this season. And you look back short term, 3-4 years ago, or whatever was the 2020 season, you look back and you say, wow, there's been a massive amount of growth within this program. It is headed in the right direction. And I really feel like this year was a gigantic step in the positive direction for it.
Yeah, and it's kind of that balancing act. I mean, you're fresh off a loss, so the fan base is so upset, and that's understandable. It's okay, well, let it settle in a little bit. 2019 you suffered a couple really bad losses. 2020 you reference and then everything going on during the coaching change and January 2021. I mean, this program from where it's come in such a short amount of time, it's incredible.
The amount of things incredible that happened within my career and even before I was even there, to look at the program now is absolutely amazing. I'm super proud of the direction of the program. It's second to none. It's going to be the toppest tier of any program in the country. It's on that way. Obviously, Saturday stunk, right? We lost a big game, and Ohio State played probably their most complete game of the year, to be honest.
If they play like that, they're not losing again.
No. And I said it as the game happened. I think I tweeted it the next day, and I said, listen, if Ohio State plays as complete of a game and they play like this offensively for the rest of the games, they're not going to lose to anyone. They're just too talented. They have a lot of depth. They have a really good coaching staff. Coach Kelly he had a lot of great plays. He had a lot of great things going on Saturday, and they just have weapons. They have a lot, right? They jumped out in front. It was hard for us to kind of get back in the fold of things, right? We had some positives, but injuries killed us, and just falling so quick with that first quarter, right? Ohio State wasn't. I said it all week. Ohio State wasn't a first half team all year, but obviously on Saturday night they came out first 3 possessions and they did that, which is it's football. Shit happen. I was going to say whatever. Stuff happens though. But stuff happens, right? End all be all, 10-win season for Tennessee. Played excellent. Super proud of the boys. This is just the start to something even bigger next year and the years to come.
All right, man. This will be the last question I ask you because I know you say it's okay, but we're going on 30 minutes here, and this is just riveting stuff. You said I'm super proud of the boys, and it just dawned on me there's still a couple of guys that are on this team that you play with, which is wild. But anyway, not to go super inside football here, but geek out a little bit. Tell me what you like about this Josh Heupel offense, and have you played in a system similar to this Josh Heupel offense before? What do you like about it?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I didn't play in a system like this before. I wish I had. But you look at it conceptually. You look at what he's trying to get done with his offense. He always has a plan with it, right? Whether that's spacing, whether that's tempo, whether that's the line making calls or their run game philosophy, which Coach Ellerby does an excellent job with as well. Mm-hmm. But you look at it, and the way that college football hashes were created and are made, for teams to run condensed formations sometimes isn't all too good, right? Like being able to use all 53 yards from sideline to sideline is definitely an asset that should be used. And Lane Kiffin does a great job doing it, and Coach Heupel does a great job doing it. Probably two of the best that do it in college football, honestly, with formationally to the boundary, splits wise, stacks wise. And like I said, with Coach Heupel, I was talking to one of the guys last week. Coach Heupel does such a great job of utilizing his talent and knowing where his team's strengths are and weaknesses are, right? So like 2 years ago, Hendon was playing very good football, and then they had Hyatt, they had Cedric, they had a couple more guys on the outside. Like we had some good tight ends, we had Jacob Warren and the boys, but they were able to utilize that offense in a different way than we had the offense this year, just because we have Dylan Sampson and we have some good run game called this year, right? So he's able to utilize, and we have a young quarterback, right? I think the world of Nico, like I've said before, I think Nico is going to be a phenomenal football player. Mm-hmm. But he's still young. You don't want to put the game on a young quarterback's shoulders. You want to allow the game to come to him, right? So being able to take the easy throws, that's one thing that I love about the offense. Being able to take the easy throws, RPOs, quick game, bubbles, nows, whatever it is. And then you see from run game perspective of the inside zones, the guard pulls, the counters, powers, they do it all. And they do it all from just either whether that's 5-man in the box, 6-man in the box. I saw a lot more 12 personnel than I ever have this whole season with Tennessee, right? Which was cool to see, right? Like that's when people look at football games, when they look at SEC, they thinking like, okay, 11, 12, like the past couple of years, it's been heavy 11. Damn near looked like it was heavy 10 at times just because of how high flying he had the offense going. But it was good to see a cultivation of 11, 12, 10 wide splits, condensed splits, different run games, and being able to have the wide splits and being able to see the box count. Like it makes it so much easier on a quarterback's eyes of keying just one defender or just seeing space, right? Like it's all about spacing, timing in that whole offense, along with the tempo factor. I mean, it's hard to stop, right? I just think that Ohio State's what they did. I don't even talk about the game as much, but what they did so well was they got in front and then they created light boxes and said, you know what, like, okay, you guys are just going to have to beat us with long drives and just consistently playing 2nd and 6, 3rd and 4. Like you're just going to have to just go about it that way with running the ball because they had very light boxes all game just because they had the lead. And that's really hard for a quarterback with no run game at that time. And trying to actually come back into a game. It's just very difficult. So, and Nico was probably the leading rusher. I don't remember the stats all that much. I know that there was guys that got banged up, D-Samp, and then I know our backup got banged up.
He was a leading rusher for the majority of the game until the fourth quarter, kind of mop-up duty. You had Lewis that overtook that, but he ran a lot of the Tennessee's offense the other night was just him scrambling around a little bit.
No, he was it wasn't even as much running for his life, but it was a lot of 4-man rushes with. Mm-hmm. And they played coverage and they did a really good job of it, right? Like that's how a team is supposed to play when they are up a couple points or a couple touchdowns, right? Like they're supposed to be able to say, we're just going to stick in too high. If you want to run the ball, you're just going to waste time. We're going to make for 15 play drives instead of saying, cover 1, let's go single high and let's see if you can hit a shot. Why would they do that if they were up 3 scores, right? So The offense this year in particular, Tennessee's offense, I thought was really good. You saw a different form of that offense. Of course, I think you go in the portal, you go get recruits. I know there's a lot of young guys right now that they're very high on. You go get those guys, and who knows what the offense is going to look like next year, right? You got a quarterback going into year 3 in the program, same offense. Hopefully Dylan comes back for another year. You got some guys on the offensive line that are younger. Who knows what it's going to turn into, right? I mean, they might go get some more receivers. Who knows what receivers come back? I'm super excited to see it because I think that has one of the best offensive minds in all of college football. So being able to see what he goes with next year is super exciting.
Jarrett, this was awesome, dude. Thank you so much for coming on and talking about a number of different topics, and appreciate you talking with me and give me the opportunity to kind of have you on here. But really, really awesome stuff, and I hope we can do this again in the future. All right.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you for having me. It's all love here. I appreciate what you did for me when I was playing as well, with how you reported and you kind of kept it just about football, not as much personal. So I'm really grateful for you, and thank you for allowing me to enter that door into this next phase of my life. So thank you.
Absolutely,
again.
Man. Well, I appreciate you. Merry Christmas to you and the family. All right.
Merry Christmas, brother.
Hey, that was pretty good, wasn't it? I know it took a little while to get connected, but man, we could have talked for an hour, and I really appreciate Jarrett for sharing part of his story and coming on to the show here today. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. That's something I've been excited about for a little bit. I thought it'd be kind of neat if I put it out there on Christmas, because I know that's something a lot of you guys have been looking forward to as well. And for those of you guys listening here on a Thursday or Friday, getting caught up from the holiday week, a little something in your stocking for after Christmas, if you will. But anyway, I thought that was really, really good there from Jarrett Guarantano, and I thank him for coming on. He's always got a spot here on the show, and I'm intrigued to see kind of where his path takes him. If he's done with football, what he wants to do in the media wise, if he wants to get into this type of space. Certainly he can come on here and talk ball, with me whenever he wants to. So hope you guys enjoyed that. And hey, we'll come back on Friday. Okay, we'll come back on Friday. No show on a Thursday. We'll come back on Friday, and we'll get after it. Hope you and yours had a very, very Merry Christmas. From all of us here at Locked On Vols, myself, all my co-hosts, all my not co-hosts, but all my guest host and all my weekly guest spots, and Chris Gordy, Zach Blackerby, everybody here at the network. I want to just wish you guys a Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for coming back every single day and making this your first listen in the morning. We'll be back on Friday. This is Locked On Vols.